For our upcoming mystery grid assignment, we are going to be drawing a 5-inch by 7-inch rectangle on our paper and our sketchbook, and then breaking that space into a 1-inch by 1-inch grid. So on your paper in your sketchbook, start by drawing a 5 by 7 box. The bottom line I just drew is 5 inches. Okay. And then I want to make sure my ruler is straight, so my lines are straight, so my box is straight. So I'm lining up the edge of my paper with the marks on the ruler. And then I'm going to draw my 7-inch side. Make sure you're drawing to the 0, not to the end of your ruler, unless the end of your ruler happens to be 0. I'm doing the same thing here, making sure that my ruler is straight by lining it up with one of those marks on my ruler. If you do that, you can tell it's not lined up on a mark, so that means your line's not straight, okay? So make sure it's lined up. And then you're going to draw a 5-inch line. Do the same thing, this is 7 inches on this side. Okay, same thing here, make sure it lines up. Make sure you've got your measurements correct, double check them. That's 5. And that's 5. Okay. So there's my 5 by 7-inch rectangle. Now I'm going to, I'm going to just put that number a little bit lower down here. Right, now I'm going to make sure that I grid this with a 1-inch grid. So at the bottom, I'm going to mark at every inch. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I should have 4 little lines there. I'm going to slide my ruler up to the top and do the same thing up here. And do 1, 2, 3, and 4. When you're using your grid to measure, you need to make sure, or sorry, when you're using your ruler to measure the grid, you need to make sure that you're looking over your ruler and that your little measurement marks line up exactly with the line on the ruler. Okay, so 4 on that side. I'm going to do the left and the right now. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slide my ruler over to the right and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so I have all of my marks around my rectangle, and I'm going to use my ruler to connect them. I want to draw my grid lightly, so I drew my marks pretty dark on here so you could see them. But when you get ready to do this yourself, again, you want to make sure that you're drawing nice and light, because the grid is there as a tool to help you, but it's not really an important thing that you want to see at the end of the product. We just need it there as our guide. So make sure that you're drawing these lines pretty lightly. You're lining them all up with your ruler, holding steady on your ruler so it doesn't slip around on you. All right. Again, my lines are dark just so you can see them on the camera. And then go in the opposite direction and do the same thing. Connect your lines. Okay, so that is a 1 inch by 1 inch grid. That means that each individual box measures 1 inch by 1 inch. So you can make sure of that by taking your ruler and double checking your measurements. That's 1 inch this way, and 1 inch this way. Okay, that's a good idea if your grid looks a little bit off or a little crooked, to take your ruler and measure a few individual boxes to make sure you've got 1 by 1. And that's how to make a 1 by 1 inch grid in your 5 by 7 box.